Now, was that irony or absurdity?
I don't know. Did
Probably absurdity.
you guys get the thing that said it started recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Top left.
Oh, crap.
I mean, we're gonna be editing. I'm gonna edit it anyways. We'll cut it. All right.
We'll cut that.
We'll cut it. Anyways, welcome,
Wait, are you recording?
welcome everyone to our return episode of The Hot Stove. I'm your host, Zack Nunez, along with my co-hosts.
It's me, Mark.
First.
I already went.
Who's next?
I'm Connor Fernberg.
I'm Austin Westrich, in and out.
Guest
on the
host
show.
Josh Bowden.
And look at this. For the very first time ever, if you haven't seen it before, you guys are seeing our ugly mugs on camera. So before we actually get into content for this episode, I do want to kind of let everybody know who's watching or listening, kind of what the hell is going on, right? So we were just talking about before we started that this is our first show in 6 months, right? Our last show before the world went to hell was March 7th. And at that point, we had literally no idea what was coming. Fast forward, it's September 8th, and we were recording our very first episode of the Hot Stove podcast. So moving forward, we're going to be uploading both video and audio content. Hopefully, if you guys are hearing this, hopefully you're hearing this on one of your preferred streaming services, whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or you're watching the video version on YouTube. And that's going to be how we moving forward. So the episodes are going to be available on my YouTube channel, Zack Nunez. You can search that, or they will be available on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, which are one you prefer. It should be up there in the near future. So yeah, those are procedurals. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWMYO. I might change the handle since we are kind of breaking away from our greater radio brethren. It's a scary time. I was telling these guys beforehand that I'm afraid of change personally. So right now recording this episode is terrifying to me because I don't know what exactly is going to happen moving forward. But I think the plan moving forward is that we're going to be doing our weekly show as normal. We're going to try and get the episodes out Wednesday or Thursday for you so we can have our NFL week previews like we normally do. And then once a month, we are going to be launching something that we are calling Hot Stove After Dark. We've talked about this for a while, and now that we're already in podcast form, we might as well go full steam ahead. So Hot Stove After Dark is going to be a monthly show where it's going to be late, it's going to be weird, and it's going to be uncut. So if you want to see us get down with the sickness, if you will, we are going to be uploading those soon. Hopefully we'll have the first one for you guys within the next couple weeks or so. We got a lot to catch up on in the last 6 months or so in sports. So we'll be covering all of that in that episode of Hot Stove After Dark. In this episode, however, we are going to be doing our third annual. It's crazy to say that. We're officially in year 3 of Hot Stove. We're going to be doing our third annual NFL season preview as well as our week 1 preview, because as it stands right now, it is Tuesday, September 8th as we're recording this, and the start of the NFL season is less than 48 hours away. This Thursday night, the Chiefs and the Texans are going to kick it off and start season 101 for the National Football League. So we are actually going to start with not the Heat Breaker segment. I don't know. Those Hot Stove faithful may or may not know that we did a little bit of an icebreaker segment at the beginning of every show. But I actually have something different planned for us this time around. And what it is, it's going to be Hot Stove Trivia. I pulled some trivia questions for multiple different sports from a few different sources, and I'm going to be asking the rest of the hosts here these trivia questions, and we'll see how that goes. I know these guys, Connor in particular, isn't very good at trivia, but We'll see. We'll see how this goes. So the first one here, I got a couple of NFL trivia questions for you guys. The first one is going to be, and I guess raise your hand, or in Austin's case, speak up if you have the answer. I don't want it to be too much chaos, so please don't just like shout over each other. But first question here: which NFL quarterback holds the record for the best passer rating during their rookie season? Now, if you guys take a couple of seconds, I can give you some hints with it. But again, I'll reiterate the question. Which NFL quarterback holds the record for rookie passer rating in a season? Yes, Connor.
Gardner Minshew.
It is not Gardner Minshew.
Has he played for my favorite team?
That would be giving it away. I can't say anything.
Dak.
It is Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Don't say
I was
that would be giving
also
it away.
thinking Dak Prescott.
Dak, he had a passer rating of 104.9. The previous record was set in 2012 by Robert Griffin III with 102.4. Fun fact for you guys right
Not bad for a running back.
So the next question, we're going to be digging into a little bit of Super Bowl history on this one. Taking it all the way back to the year 2000, January 2000 to be specific. Super Bowl 34, the greatest show on turf versus the Tennessee Titans. 1 yard short, one of the most legendary plays in NFL history. Who was the receiver that was tackled at the 1 yard line?
Oh,
And the Super Bowl
Oh.
played for the Tennessee Titans.
yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I know his last name and I forgot his first name.
Sure.
If you give me his last name, I'll count it as half a point.
Sharp with an E.
Nope.
And I don't
You
know.
thinking
what I'm talking
Tajay
about.
Sharp? You thinking Tajay Sharp? Is that what you're thinking of?
He's thinking of Shannon Sharp's
Yeah.
brother, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
Sterling.
that's what I was thinking of. But
Sterling Sharp. No, it was not him. Anybody else have any other guesses?
I'm completely blanking.
The answer is Kevin Dyson.
I had that.
Kevin
Man.
Dyson was the receiver.
Yeah, you had it, Connor. Well, come on, man.
I was on mute because my dad and I were too busy waking Kyle up for work at 11:30.
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to move on to some basketball trivia. NFL trivia is done. We're going to
I'm
move on to NBA trivia. This was brought up by one of my professors in a class a couple days ago. Now, we all know that Muggsy Bogues, shortest player in NBA history at 5'3". But who is the shortest player in the Basketball Hall of Fame? Shortest player in the Hall of Fame. Yes, Connor.
Bud Webb.
Not a bad guess, but it is not the correct answer.
Is he in the Hall of Fame or is he not the shortest one?
I don't believe he's in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
He would be the shortest one if he were in the Hall of Fame. I'll give you a hint here. This player played from 1970 to 1983, all with the same team.
What years?
70 to 83.
To 1983.
Hmm.
Is it Bob Cousy? No, that's way too late. Or yeah, what a terrible guess. Oh my
Not
god.
Bob Cousy. Not
Not
Bob.
that bad of a guess.
Bob Cousy was taller than this player.
Motherfucker.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, sorry.
I'll edit that.
Edit that out.
That's weird how Josh just said beep. That was crazy, right?
Yeah, that's
That was insane.
Where's the poop button when we need it?
Don't worry. I'll put it in post.
I mean,
I'll
if
sit
we were
down.
taking bets on who said something bad first, I mean, it's gonna be me.
Here's the thing.
minus 15,000 on Josh.
That button stopped working after a while in the studio.
Oh yeah. I've
I don't
especially
think
on
it
my
ever
show,
worked for us.
especially on my own show, I was just spouting.
All right, so I will give you the next hint. This player played for what was originally known as, now I'm blanking on the city it was, the Rockets. Played for the Rockets his entire career. Let me look it up to see what the Rockets originally started
That
as.
doesn't even know the answer to his own question.
I forgot the name of the team.
This guy sucks. Josh, this is a family-friendly show. Okay? Show some class.
Sure.
Guys have
Show
Nick
some class.
At the
What are you talking
time
about?
when he was drafted in the NBA, when this player was drafted in the NBA, they were the San Diego Rockets. And he
No.
moved with the team when they relocated to Houston. Does anybody have any final guesses?
That was supposed to help me, but I think it only hurt me.
How the hell does
Now
that?
I'm just lost.
The answer is Calvin Murphy.
Oh,
Calvin,
Calvin
Never.
Murphy standing at 5'9".
who is Calvin Murphy?
The shortest player in the NBA Hall of Fame.
This is in jeopardy.
So now
Wrong.
I have 4. Count them 4. baseball trivia questions for you.
Okay, here we go.
You might have to
Did any of these icebreakers ever
Stop in my
last?
video. Stop in my talking.
I was waiting for my category to come.
So we have 4 baseball trivia questions for you this time. This stat isn't currently up to date because he posted a stinker his last time out. But before his most recent start, Pablo Lopez of the Miami Marlins had 6 straight starts with at least 5 innings pitched and fewer than 2 runs allowed. Name the 2 pitchers under the age of 25 that did that last year.
Mike Soroka.
Yep, Mike Soroka is one of them. Awesome. What'd you say?
Flaherty.
Flaherty is the other one.
Oh,
Mike
because he had the
Soroka-
.75 ERA in the second
Mike
half.
Soroka and Jack Flaherty are the 2 pitchers under the age of 25 that had a stretch of at least 6 starts in 2019 with more than 5 runs and fewer than 2 runs, or more than 5 innings and fewer than 2 runs allowed. Good job for both of you. Time to move on to the next question. So this is an interesting stat that I saw when I was looking up. I was doing a little bit of research on the tiny offensive boom that there's been at Oracle Park this year. I don't know how much it has to do with them moving a couple of the fences in 10 feet. Probably not a lot, but
It's the
Probably
ball.
it's probably just a small sample size kind of thing. I think in a full season, it'd probably regulate itself. But there have only been 2 players not named Barry Bonds for the San Francisco Giants to hit 30 home runs since Oracle Park opened in 2000. Who are those 2 players?
It's
Pablo Sandoval.
No.
it's Jeff Kent
Jeff Kent is
and
Hunter
I'm
Pence.
blanking on the other one. No, it's not Hunter Pence.
the other one.
I
That was
saw
gonna be
this
my
trivia
second.
question.
It was on the Yankees game. There were, I think, oh no, it was on a podcast that I was listening to.
Yeah, I saw this on Instagram or something.
Melky
not too
Cabrera.
long ago.
Josh, get off
No.
of Google.
No, it's
Not on
not
Google.
Melky Cabrera. This other
Um,
player was a corner infielder for the Giants.
Is he currently a corn infielder?
He's not currently playing.
Oh, okay.
was it JT Snow?
No.
Brandon Belt.
No.
Nope. He did this in 2001. And
Yeah,
2000
I knew
Wait,
it
no,
was.
no, no. Only in 2001.
Oh, is it Alfonso? Eduardo Alfonso.
I'll give everybody one more guess if they got one. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you the answer.
You keeping track of points, by the way?
He's the third
No.
baseman, right? It's a third baseman.
He split his time between first, third, and short. I don't know what he played.
I know exactly.
Mark's
who it is.
fuming.
I can't think of his name.
The year he did it, he finished 12th in MVP voting. He was a shortstop that year, actually. So
2001.
yeah, Rich Aurelia is the other.
Aurelia, yeah, Richard.
He had
Aurelia.
37 home runs in 2001. Him, Jeff Kent, and Barry Bonds are the only 3 San Francisco Giants players to hit 30 home runs since the year 2000. 2 more for you. Both of these I saw on Yankees broadcast, so if you've been watching the Yankees games the last couple weeks, you may or may not have seen them. So a couple days ago, Thursday or Friday, was the 25th anniversary of Cal Ripken Jr. Breaking the all-time consecutive games record. So this one is related to that. Who in Major League Baseball has had the longest consecutive game streak in the 2010s? The Iron Man of the 2010s
I saw this one too.
Derek Jeter.
Crap.
is not Derek Jeter. Good guess.
Thanks.
Ends.
If you get once you ask, I can start giving hints.
Alcides Escobar.
Nope.
Adrian Beltre.
Nope. Bad guesses.
Can we get our first hint?
The first hint is that the streak was from 2010 to 2014. There were 5 seasons, and I'll tell you this: this player did it while bouncing around between 3 teams during that stretch.
Just a quick question: is this guy like good?
He was good. He is no longer in the league.
Okay.
Jason Bay.
Nope.
You bounced around back then.
Yeah, but
He was good also. He had some good years.
It was just an out there guess. I never expected anyone to guess Jason Bay.
It's trivia. I don't know. What the hell?
I'll give you another hint. This player finished top 3 in MVP voting twice in his career. Once during the streak. What is that?
You said 3 teams. Okay.
3 teams. He's most known as a National League player. The team that he's most associated with is in the National League.
I got nothing. I can't think of it.
Manny Ramirez.
Negative.
He was
National
already
League.
gone.
National League Association.
He was already gone.
And yeah, National League. You played for the Indians and the Red Sox.
Played for the Dodgers for like 30 seconds.
He did.
Yeah, but that's not most notably.
Okay.
Well,
okay. I'll
the
give you-
Dodgers are the biggest
Gonzalez?
team in all of sports.
I will give you the answer. The answer
Oh.
is Prince Fielder.
Oh,
Oh,
Prince Fielder played 547 consecutive games between 2010 and 2014.
I would have thought
He
that
was-
Fatty would have gotten hurt.
What is the Tigers' shade here?
he was on the Rangers already in 2014? Holy crap.
He was on the Rangers.
He's definitely a Brewers remembered though, Austin.
What is the
Yeah.
Tigers' shade? He's
Oh,
To be fair to you, Mark, he played 42 games in 2014 for the Rangers. That was the end of
Yeah,
his.
okay.
That's when the neck injury started happening.
That's why I was thinking it was the next one.
One final question, and we're gonna make this one a quick one before we get into our content for the day because we're already like 20 minutes in. But hey, it's not a hot stove episode if we don't run super long anyways. So a player who was on a major league roster this year, played as a teammate of Craig Biggio. Who's that player?
Now you got me testing my 2007 Astros knowledge.
You are correct. Your 2007 Astros knowledge. He was a rookie in 2007 and was a teammate of Craig Biggio for the Astros that
Should I know who Craig Biggio is?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Biggio, Hall of Famer.
Hunter Pence?
It is Hunter Pence.
There we go.
Hunter Pence, currently on, I don't know what roster he's on right now.
He got released.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, Nunez must have been rattled when Austin guessed Hunter Pence earlier and was like, "Oh,
Yeah, it took me a lot of power to not say he's the answer for a different question. So that concludes our trivia. Next time around, I'm sure I'll have different questions, or maybe we'll bring the Heat Breakers back. How are you feeling about those trivia questions?
I like the trivia questions.
They were phenomenal.
Trivia's good.
I
Thank you, I
think
appreciate it.
the
I love
breakers,
trivia.
could get people a little off topic like Connor.
I love trivia.
I like anything that keeps
There we
Connor
go.
from talking. So
I agree.
this is a good topic.
Yeah.
So-
All right, so we're going to turn this into a
Last night.
baseball episode.
So now it's time to get into our main subject of the day, and we will start just dive right into our NFL season preview here. We're going to start with a big piece of news that came out a couple hours before we started recording. So we'll start with the AFC West and the news that Von Miller is most likely out for the season in what can only be described as a terrible freak injury, from what I understand.
He is out
Yeah.
for the year.
Yeah. Last play of practice. They were practicing indoors today because there's a blizzard in Denver. They were practicing indoors in their own separate pods. Last play of practice, Von Miller tore a ligament in his ankle and is going to require season-ending surgery. It's terrible. Von Miller is one of the best defensive players. Easy Hall of Famer for me. Hopefully he can be back at it again as soon as possible, most likely next season. But I guess I want to turn it forward. Does that change any of your outlook for the Denver Broncos this year? Because I know it doesn't change mine. It doesn't change mine that much. It might solidify what I originally thought about the Broncos. Does anybody
Well,
else?
actually, it turns out I accidentally had him as the 6th seed. So, yes, it does. They're no longer
It does.
in the playoffs.
I think it affects it a little bit. Last year, I thought they were going to make the jump. So I figured, this year with Chubb fully healthy, Miller on the outside, I had him as the 2nd seed in the division, or finishing 2nd in the West. I think they definitely take a step back. I thought with Gordon, moving in with Melvin Gordon, I thought they could move him up. But I don't know. You saw last year with their defense out just one piece, it can affect the whole thing can fall.
I did like their trade for Jarrell Casey, giving up literally nothing for one of the best defensive linemen in football. I think they gave up a 7th rounder.
Yeah.
for him,
Yeah.
which is an absolute steal. But I don't think that is – I mean, Jarrell Casey is a great player. He doesn't provide what Von Miller does to a football team. And not that I think it changes too much what I think about the Broncos. I had them going 6-10 before I heard the news, and I'm not sure I'd even change it really. I have the non-Chiefs teams in the division all within like 2 games of each other. So we can jump into that. I have the Broncos at 6-10, the Chargers at 7-9, even though they are also missing their best defensive player. It really sucks too because Derwin James is one of the top 5 defensive players in football, probably when fully healthy. And it sucks that 2 seasons in a row now we're going to miss out on having him on the football field. It's a big loss for the Chargers. And then I have Raiders at 8-8, and I should have them. I thought I had them as the second wild card team, but give me 1 second to adjust that because I definitely had them as the second wild card team.
The Raiders?
Yeah, I think I'm going to change it. I'll have them at 9-7. I think the Raiders are better than people are giving them credit for. I think sneakily they have probably a top 10 offensive line in football. And I think the additions that they've made on defense this offseason, while not super flashy, have been really good. I love the Corey Littleton signing. I think he's one of the most underrated linebackers in football. And you know one thing, once they get that Spider 2Y banana planned up, John Gruden is going to have the Las Vegas Raiders playing hard every single snap. And I don't know. I think I'm not that the Raiders are going to blow up the world or anything like that, but I think the Raiders are a sneaky good team this year. That's just me. Anybody else? Does anybody else have another playoff team coming out of the AFC West, or is it just the Chiefs?
No, but the
Just
Raiders,
Chiefs.
Hunter Renfrow, watch out for him.
He's probably the third most exciting on the team, wide receiver.
That
Fourth receiver that's exciting. Behind Waller too.
Hey, that white guy can do some damage. That's all I'm saying.
Next.
Is it just me that has the second playoff team out of the West, or does anybody else have that?
I had the Broncos.
And you're going to change that now, I assume, is what you said, right?
No, I already lost the website, so I'm not changing it.
But if you were to do it again, it would probably.
You know what? I'll stick to my guns.
Okay.
You know why? I really like Drew Lock.
I do remember last year on the show where Josh was going on and on about how the Broncos were going to make the playoffs.
I thought
he was really in on Joe Flacco for some reason. That didn't.
Yeah.
Last year I was down on the Broncos because of Joe Flacco, mainly. But I think Drew Lock might end up being the best quarterback that John Elway has had any hand in, getting to the Broncos, which isn't saying much at all.
Don't give him credit for Peyton Manning.
No, he gets zero credit for Peyton Manning. If it was Peyton Manning, anyone would have signed him. But they're just I like Locke. I like his arm. I like his vision on the field. I think he's good at finding the open guy.
Oh, Jerry Jeudy is still, for my money, the best receiver out of this class.
Agreed. Judy's a stud.
I don't think it's close, to be honest.
I also caught myself with a lot of CeeDee Lamb love right before the draft happened, but I think Jeudy is it's down to a preference thing, right? Jeudy is the receiver that I kind of prefer, that big body, every contested ball, has hands for days, and is also just a freak athlete.
Yeah,
faster than most people on the field. He's
really good route runner.
He's a good route runner. He's a full tool, is what Jerry Jeudy is to me. I think he's awesome. I think it won't be too long before Jerry Jeudy is the alpha number one on that team. And I like Cortland Sutton. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, but
I think he'd be a number one on a lot of teams. But Jerry Judy's a different breed.
You think he just gets dogged right by Jeudy?
I don't think numbers wise, for example. I think Cortland Sutton will have the better season this year.
Yeah.
I think that at some point it'll become apparent that Jerry Jeudy is the best wide receiver for the Broncos.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So we're actually going to move to what I think is probably the best division in football, which is the NFC West. We're going to move over to the NFC. And I think top to bottom, I don't think there's really much of a question as to whether or not this is the best division in football, because you have 4 teams that can. I think every team, there's a case to be made that they can not only make the playoffs but make some noise in the playoffs. You know, you have Seattle, who is there literally every year. Russell Wilson is the only quarterback in the NFL to throw for 30-plus passing touchdowns in each of the last 3 seasons. The only one that can say that they've done that. You have the Niners, who I think obviously you can bake in some sort of regression for them. But still, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Like, they're obviously not a team to just throw to the side or anything like that. You have the Rams that were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and have done a little bit of retooling themselves. I think their offensive line should be better than the terrible line that it was last year. And then you have the Cardinals, who, don't get me wrong, will have an awful defense. There's just no way around it. But also, they probably have one of the most potent offenses in the NFL. They're going to run at a fast pace. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to throw the ball a ton. And I think Kyler Murray, I don't think gets enough credit for being as accurate of a thrower as he is.
No, very accurate.
Pinpoint accuracy, pretty much everywhere on the field. I think the sky's the limit for the Cardinals offense. I don't have them making the playoffs myself. I just think that you definitely can't count them out. I think this division is kind of going to be like the good version of the NFC North. I think each team is going to like beat the hell out of each other, but I think these are all really good teams. We'll get to the NFC North later, but I think that that's a little different.
I think the Cardinals are just going to be the team that, like you said, they'll throw up 30 on someone on a good team one day and just maybe knock them off. You know, like they could obviously beat up one of the teams in the division, but you know, the day they play, what team plays the West this year? Like, what divisions do they play this year? I just did a playoff predictor. I have no clue.
Let me see. They play the AFC East and the NFC East.
Oh, they do play the yeah. I mean, they could easily probably go up there and just knock off an Eagles. You know, one of the better teams in those divisions.
He won't say his own team.
No.
They definitely have.
I'd actually. Fun fact: I have them beating.
To play spoiler this year. I think they're that team. Like, I don't think they're quite good enough to get over the hump and make it into the postseason, but they're definitely like week 14 on. They're going to be the team to watch when it comes to like tight playoff races because they could swing a lot of that. What are their last 4 games? Connor, do you have any input while I'm looking this stuff up? Or
I got their last 4 games. They play the Rams, the Giants, Eagles. Oh, sorry, the Giants, Eagles, Niners, Rams. So those last like 3 weeks, Eagles, Niners, Rams.
Twice in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Nunez, Josh, and Austin, since we're all in the same fantasy league, can attest to the fact that I am hunkering down on the Arizona Cardinals this year with my DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray stack. It's going to happen every week.
Big stack.
I love that.
I mean, I can't really say that they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to because, as you said, their defense isn't too well, and I don't really think teams all that well put together just yet. I think they got the makings in the next few years, but shape up that defense first, but they're a threat.
So, Connor, you think every week they connect? I'll take that bet.
Who?
You said every week it's going to connect. That Hopkins and Kyler would connect every week. 16 touchdowns? You want to take that bet?
I mean, I guarantee you they're going to complete a pass.
Oh, a pass now. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You didn't say connect for a TD. Jesus, Josh.
Yeah, so they're going to connect. You're an idiot. Okay, I say one thing, and you just misinterpret it because you're a dumb
He's just
idiot.
the kid's just a gambler at heart. He's looking for anybody he could take over.
True.
I feel
Looking
that.
for wash that.
I was telling Josh before the show, I don't have a team finishing below 500 in this division. The Cardinals are the last team in this division for me, and they're 8-8.
They're 7-9 for me in their last.
Same mark.
I have them 8-8, and I have them last in the division. Yeah. Who do you guys have making the playoffs out of this division?
Only Seattle.
I have Seahawks and Niners.
Only Seattle.
I have the other 2 going 8-8.
Jeez.
Oh, I have Seahawks Rams.
I also have Seahawks Rams, and I have
Seahawks Niners.
the Niners missing the playoffs by like a tiebreaker.
Same. That's
Somewhere.
what I do.
What'd you say, Connor? Who do you have making out of this division?
Seahawks and Niners.
That's what I got.
Preferably the Niners.
We all have the Seahawks winning the division.
Yeah.
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 That's most of the experience. Really, you have the Niners, Connor?
Niners.
It's not a bad pick.
No,
That's
it's not.
No.
You know, I have the Seahawks finishing as the 3rd seed in the NFC, and then the Rams as the 2nd wildcard team.
I have the Seahawks as the 1 seed.
Oh, sorry. I
also
guess.
have the Seahawks as my 1 seed.
I think the Seahawks are going to be really freaking good this year.
Technically, I didn't see this, Connor. I also have the Niners on a tiebreaker winning the division.
Yeah,
for the
you're.
Seahawks. I'm with you, dude.
Shut your dumb whore mouth next time.
Whoa! Whoa!
Got that.
Whoa. All right,
Okay,
so
cut that.
somebody tell
How
me.
about to say that word?
Somebody tell me which cardinal direction we're going to go to next.
West.
Well, we talked about the fact that they play the 2 worst divisions in football, so we could go talk about the 2 worst divisions in football, in my opinion, the East and the East.
I would not disagree,
Yeah, no.
but I do think in terms of bad teams, we'll start with the NFC East, okay? In terms of the number of bad teams, I think that the NFC East is the worst division in the NFC, at least, right?
Yes.
But I think in terms of overall suckiness, and I brought this up already, I think the NFC North might actually be worse.
I'd say.
I don't think there's a single, like, very good.
I could see that. I think they're pretty close, but I put a couple of the bottom teams in the NFC North above the bottom teams in the NFC East.
Really? Oh, wow.
He's a self-hating Philly fan, though, so it's tough to judge your judgment on the division.
I'm starting to warm up. Not that I think they'll be good. I don't think they'll be good.
Ooh.
I'm starting to warm up a little bit, a little tiny bit, to the Washington football team. Hear me out,
Oh,
Connor. I like the background. Hear me out.
okay.
What I mean by that is I don't think Dwayne Haskins is as bad as everybody says that he is. I don't think it's
I agree.
I
quite
agree.
fair to write him off after half a season. I like some of their skill players a good bit. I like Terry McLaurin a lot. I think he's really, really talented. And I think everybody should. I like their pass rush a lot. It was already a really good pass rush. And then you got Chase Young, who by all metrics in college is one of the best pass rushers we've seen since like Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
In terms of
He's
college
a
stats.
freak.
He's an absolute freak. I don't know if you've seen the footage, the minimal footage from like Washington camp, but he is yawsing around the place.
Yeah.
I don't know if working around those offensive linemen is really a trophy, but
Yeah. Wait until he sees some real men out there on the field.
I think it's possible. I just think it's possible that Chase Young has the Nick Bosa effect on this defense. Like, I think it's possible that he is the last piece that unlocks an elite pass rush. And as a stat nerd, I believe that pass rush makes coverage better.
I was firmly in on
The
Washington's.
other way around.
I was firmly in on the fact that Washington's defense last year was not terrible.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
They were a streaming option for me on fantasy daily stuff throughout the year normally.
Their secondary is booty, though.
yeah.
They got Landon Collins, he's pretty
Indeed.
good. But other than that, I mean,
Counts.
Yeah.
So who do we
I
have
couldn't
winning
name
this
their starter.
division?
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, who-
I have the Cowboys winning this division pretty easily.
I also have the Cowboys winning the division. I have them as the 2nd seed in the NFC at 12-4.
I have them. See, that's not that bad then. I had them non-homerly in my mind at 13-3 in the first.
I do think the Cowboys are just set up to be really good this year. The secondary is really, really a question. Like,
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
their defense is a giant question mark for me right now.
but they should have a top. I think they have a top 3 offense in football.
Yep.
I think going into the season on paper, given what they did last year and what they have this year, it goes Kansas City, Baltimore, Dallas. That's the short list of the best offenses in football.
I feel so conflicted. I've said it. I feel like I'm just a broken record saying it like the past couple years. Just like, on paper, we're like the top team in the NFC in our division, no doubt, and like should be in the NFC, like top 3, top 5 team. And every year I'm dumbfounded when we're 8-8.
Well,
So
That's why I picked the Eagles.
once the
Because
game
I will never pick the Cowboys.
respect.
once the games start, paper means nothing. But I think that
Yeah.
Dallas is set up pretty well to go.
Honest
I mean,
defensively too, as much as the secondary leaves questions, the front 7 rotations potentially with if guys like Alden Smith, Everson Griffin, people they've added, Dontari Poe to the run defense in the front line, they've made some great additions that normally they just ignore free agency. They've
Yeah.
been very active defensively.
normally, I mean, the Chiefs showed it last year. If you have an elite offense and an average defense, if you have an elite offense, all you need is your defense to be replacement level,
Yeah, exactly.
and you can win the Super Bowl.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
my hope.
So I think Dallas is on the short list of legitimate Super Bowl, like teams that I can make a legitimate, strong case to win the Super Bowl this year. They're on the short list of
I have
4 or 5.
so are they the only team from the division you guys have in the playoffs?
No, I also have the Eagles making the playoffs.
Yeah, because I have the Eagles and the Cowboys, and I only have one game separating them.
I just have
Oh.
the Eagles, or just have the Cowboys making the playoffs.
I have Cowboys and Eagles.
Just the Cowboys.
Eagles are the 7th seed, I believe, in mine.
I have the Eagles at 6, at 11 and 5, and this was before.
No Jalen
Before-
Rieger,
before
no
Andre
Will
Dillard,
Clarkson, no
I would say
Quaz
before.
Watkins.
This was before the injuries to Rager and Andre Dillard. So I might change it and have them as the 7 seed, but I still think the Eagles could and should make the playoffs.
Yeah, I
I'll
have
tell ya,
I have
I'm
the
not-
Eagles at 11 and 5, and the
I'm not
Cowboys
as
at 10
high
and 6.
on the Cowboys as you guys are. I have them 10 and 6, and that's piggybacking off the fact that I have them sweeping the entire division. So outside of the division, I don't have them playing great football, to be honest with you. I think their offense peaked last year, and I don't see it getting better.
It doesn't need to get better though. That's my
No.
opinion.
But
last year was
I see it regressing. I don't see Dak throwing for 5,000 yards.
He didn't throw for 5,000 yards last year.
He threw for 4,900.
You don't think he could throw for like easily that much? I don't know, man. They've only added.
That's shooting a little high. I think it's fair to assume at least like 4,400.
Yeah, I think he could throw for 4,400, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, but I don't think that puts
Even
them in a top
that's
3
still, like-
offense. I think it puts them at a 10 and 6 team who loses to teams with a good defense. Because what scares me about them is their games against the Bills. They can't score. Against good defenses, they showed that they could not show up.
That's true.
Yeah, that's sort of my thinking too. Is like thinking about them going up against that Bills secondary. I'm just like, this ain't gonna work.
I don't know. As much that's a valid point. As much as it may sound stupid, I think now you bring in a championship quality coach at one point too, a guy who's been there, and he can I think he can hopefully affect the mindset of players going into games. I said it all last year, and I think it's gonna be my motto again this year. It's all about like good players making good plays at good times, and just you have the players. They just got to do what they're supposed to do and should do when they need to do it. Like that's all
Here's
football
the
is, and you
thing.
have the best. Just go make the freaking play.
Is Mike McCarthy a good coach though?
I don't think he's even close to a good coach.
I don't
all I
think
hear
he's
is
a very
stories
good
about
coach.
him eating donuts while other coaches coach the team half the weeks. That's all I've heard about stories about him.
But is that near the end of his reign when him and Rodgers were at odds?
He's not calling plays then.
Hmm?
He is not.
He's not.
I
He's
know.
not.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing he's not. I believe is what he said.
No, yeah, it is a good thing. I don't think he's a good coach, and I don't think he'll inspire anybody. I don't think he can inspire me to get off the couch. To be quite frank with you.
He can inspire me. Go
But-
over and sit by him.
Okay,
Talk it up.
Connor, I want to give you the soapbox to talk about the one team that we haven't talked about yet in the NFC East.
I don't want to talk about
I
it.
honestly,
I want you to give me your season outlook for the G-Men.
They're gonna be terrible. I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
I do have them as the worst team in the division.
Yep.
I don't
can tell
agree
you
that they're going to be terrible, though. I think they have the upside.
Well,
I
I'm
think they have-
telling you, their offense is not terrible, but their defense is still going to be
Yes.
lackluster, to say the least.
That's being very generous. They have a bottom 5 defense in the NFL.
Hey, I don't want to
I
talk
agree.
about it, okay?
I have them finishing 7 and 9. Maybe that's high,
God.
but
That's
I mean,
very high. I have them at 3 and
here's the thing.
13.
I think they
also have
can.
them at 3-13.
I think every team other than the Redskins or the Washington football team beats them twice. So I think they get 2 wins there, and I think they can take one from other teams in the division. So that's 4. And they just need to come up with 3 other ones elsewhere. That's my thing.
We have to have a jar, like a donation jar, anytime somebody says the Redskins on this show.
I say honestly, this is the first time corrected myself ever.
Yeah.
Since they've changed. I've been saying the Redskins since,
Sorry.
which that may be.
I've done a good
insulting.
job. I have yet to call him that.
All I'm
Really?
saying is Alex Smith will be the starting quarterback for the Redskins.
I don't know about that,
I hope he doesn't play another snap.
but here's
I hope he does too. Just
For
to
his
be-
children. Yeah, I really hope he wouldn't.
if Alex Smith plays a snap of football this year, he's comeback player of the year, right?
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell
Not
you
even
what.
close.
If Alex Smith comes out, it runs out on the field while you're watching it. You're watching that game. He's playing against Aaron Donald. You're keeping that on your TV. I'm turning it off. I'm not watching.
I'm watching it.
I don't want to see that.
Wait, unless
Man's got
in a miracle, Ryan Shazier walks out onto the field. That's
I
the
don't want
only
to
way.
watch him walk out either.
the battle of
Stop these
triples.
Ryan Shazier doesn't only walk out on the field; he starts sprinting at quarterback.
Honestly, though, I would rather see Alex Smith play football. Like Alex Smith is at least cleared for football activity. Like
Yeah.
he's been
Ryan Shazier had to learn how to walk.
Ryan Shazier, okay.
He's not cleared to do Pilates at the YMCA yet. I mean,
Also, does anyone realize why I have a caterpillar behind me?
Because Daniel Jones is going to become the beautiful butterfly this year.
No, I'm talking about the thing on Josh's lip.
Oh,
Oh,
you mean this beautiful mustache?
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
a beautiful mustachio from Josh Bohim.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we're going to move on to the other worst division in football. That's the AFC East. Now, I think this division fascinates me.
me too.
It really, really does. I don't know if it's in a good way or not.
You say this is the other worst division. I say it might be my favorite division in football.
Nunez, what if I told you that I had 3 teams making the playoffs from this division?
And you'd be smoking crack.
I did. I'm high on life, baby.
I've got
What
two.
the hell is wrong with you?
I've got two.
Passion.
I have
I
just
have
the
this
one,
many.
and just the one you would think.
I have just the one.
The Patriots? The Patriots?
No.
Oh. You guys are on it.
I mean nobody.
And I mean nobody.
Nobody.
Yes.
Circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
I think they have the best offense and defense in that division.
Yeah. I do like Miami's offense, though.
I also like Miami's offense. That's my MVP for the division, Preston Williams.
Big Preston Williams guy.
I was really hoping he was going to go Fitzmagic there.
I have so many questions about New England's offense, but I just can't see their team being bad.
I can't.
Maybe it's because I just haven't in a decade, but I can't imagine a year.
I don't think they'll be bad. I think they'll be average, and I don't have them making the playoffs. That's what I
Cam
think.
Everyone
Newton
in
is
the division.
good.
I have them going 7-9 and missing out.
I have them at 8-8.
I have them at 10-6.
Yeah, me too.
That's
Josh and I just have the same picks.
I think there's so much unknown when it comes to New England this year. I think that's what makes the division kind of fascinating to me. Is like there's so much unknown when it comes to the offense. And to me, I think one of the things we do know is I don't think their defense is going to be really that good this year.
They had like 8 opt-outs.
Great.
Right.
First of all, great defenses regress. It happens every single year. Second of all, you add in the McCourty brothers opting out. You add in
Pat Chung.
Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins leaving. You add in Dante Hightower opting
Yeah,
out.
Hightower.
Pat Chung opted out.
You had Chung opt
Yeah.
out.
On top
I
of all
just-
this, so they have an average offensive line, poor receiving weapons, and a crippled backfield. How are they supposed to put up enough points to beat a team if that team scores 20?
I just have a feeling. That's all it is. I just have a feeling.
I've always been a huge Cam Newton fan.
Yeah, I'm a big Cam guy.
He would need to be MVP Cam for this team to win 10 games in my mind.
Which, to be fair, I think we could be getting MVP Cam. But
I do too. I think that's a real possibility.
Regardless of what you think, when 100% healthy, Cam Newton is a perennial MVP candidate.
Absolutely.
We haven't seen anything to the contrary.
Yeah,
So, assuming health,
as long as he's 100%, which they say he is and he says he is, as long as he's 100%, I don't see how he won't perform.
Connor's going nuts there.
what's up,
First of all, we
Connor?
want to get you out of the shadows. And second of all, we want to see what you're shaking your head about.
It's gonna get hurt again. No ill will against Cam Newton, but
I don't know as if that's just a normal assumption that you can make. It's not like he has like a degenerative knee injury or something like that.
no, you're right. But just what
He's
is
got
it?
a feeling.
He's not
The analysis here has been superb.
Two and a half years. The last 2.5 years, he's been hurt.
Year and a half.
Yeah,
Oh.
year and a half.
It was the last 6 games of 2018.
I guarantee you, he was playing through injuries 2.5 years ago too.
Entirety of last year, and there were 2 separate injuries too. So
That's even worse. Now he has problems.
No, it's not.
No, it's
we're
not.
a year removed of him playing football. Like he didn't play through it last year.
Now he has 2 problems though to worry about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but nobody's. I don't like this
I'm
analysis.
going to move on. Yeah. So I think to Mark's point
Doesn't know how
about
the
just
body
his
works. No big deal.
hatred for the Cowboys and that he couldn't put them at number 1, that's kind of my hatred towards the Bills, and I just can't see them. I guess I could, but like I talked about the Cowboys last year where they just falter at every point. I mean, the Bills, I can't see that. I don't know what they do well. Defensively, I get it, all of it. But offensively, I don't see how they can win. I don't think Stephon Diggs is as big as an ad as other people. I don't think the Biz sell. I think he's a great – no, I think Diggs is a great B. Like you were saying with Sutton, soon to be.
I don't think Diggs. I think Diggs is an alpha.
Yeah,
Legitimately, talent-wise, like a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
Oh,
Legitimately.
Yeah.
You're actually
I agree.
smoking crack.
He can do everything. He runs the full route tree. He's not just a deep threat. He's not just an underneath guy. He's done both, actually. He had 1,000 yards last year on
He
like
can play
70
out of the
catches.
slot, and he can play wide and run deep.
He had 1,000 yards last year on like 70 catches, and the year before he had 1,000 yards on over 100 catches. So
Mhm.
Yep.
the Vikings, honestly, I think severely mismanaged him by, regardless of which year it was and which role they wanted him to play, they just pigeonholed him. Like 2 years ago, he was the slot guy who's going to catch passes 4 yards down the field. Last year, he was the guy that's going to have an ADOT of like 20. So like,
Yep.
I don't know. I think Diggs is super talented. Not that, don't get me wrong. The Bills, I don't project them to have any sort of like a potent offense or anything like that.
No, but I think it's going to be good enough.
I think their offense is probably going to be bottom half in the league. But when you have that good of a defense, it doesn't matter.
that's fair.
You can win games.
I mean, yeah, by
And
no means do I have them doing poorly. I'm at 8-8, making the playoffs.
Wait,
Seems,
so you said you had 3 teams in this division?
yeah. You want to guess my
Let's actually
third?
circle to that. But
I
So-
just remember that.
10-6 Pats, 8-8 Bills, 8-8 Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
there's a bizarre world situation where that actually happens.
I just don't see it.
I can't fathom it.
Because I have no other team in the AFC really
I
stepping up
can't
other
really
than
fathom the
If you
least continuous team in the NFL putting it together this season.
If you squint hard enough,
the
they
biggest.
have good enough players to squeak in maybe.
They're the 7. Yeah. My biggest problem with my theory now is that I have only one team in the AFC North, and I think that division's too good to only produce one playoff team. That's my only problem with the 3 now. That's where I think I'd see another team going.
Also,
But-
I'd like to say that my Connor, were you about to say something?
No.
I'd just like to say that the Jets are going to be the biggest dumpster fire in football this year. The Jaguars are probably
Jets? No.
The Jaguars are going to be close.
the Jaguars are probably going to be the worst team in football in terms of sheer record, but I think that the Jets are going to be the biggest dumpster fire in
Yeah.
football.
They're good for like a 35-point blowout, though, one year, right? One game, probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like last year.
I think the players hate Adam Gase, and I think Adam Gase is probably the worst coach in football.
I think he's the
Probably.
worst coach in the history of football.
For
Agreed.
my money. So I think that team is going to be an absolute, like when Le'Veon Bell gets benched for Frank Gore in week 10, that's
Le'Veon
when
Bell
we'll
gets
know.
traded at the trade deadline.
That's when we'll know that this team is the biggest tire fire you could possibly imagine on the football field.
Yeah, I could see that. Certainly happening.
So now we're going to move further up this playoff predictor. We're going to go to the South divisions. First, we'll talk about the AFC South. I think it's a pretty – I think – excuse me. I think secondary to the NFC West, it's probably the other division I find the most interesting because my main question about the division is what is Tennessee's regression going to look like?
Mhm.
Because I don't think it's necessarily baked in because it's not like your normal regression where like they had an incredible defense
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it worked, right? It's not like a Buffalo last year where they had a top 5 defense and put it together offensively. They're a team that should play the same style of football as Buffalo, but Ryan Tannehill was the most efficient quarterback in NFL history from week 8 on.
I think my comparison, and this is a little sketchy because it's cross sport. They won a championship. This team didn't. But like the Raptors run last year and then losing Kawhi, everyone was like, so how far down do they go? They're still like a good team. That's
Yeah, they
kind
go
of
to
where
the
I'm
2
thinking.
seed as they should.
Yeah, obviously there's some real holes in this, but kind of similar to like they just went on a crazy playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do they bring into next season with it? And I think they still compete near the top of the division.
I like
I think so.
the Clowney signing a lot, by the way.
That's huge.
That's awesome.
I mean, their defense was
Yeah.
already probably.
That's huge for them.
I'm happy I drafted them as a second defense.
They
Yeah.
Connor's a big second defense guy.
I am. Plus, it screws people out of another defense.
That
Yeah, I
being
hate
said,
him.
that being said, I don't feel too strongly about it, but I don't have them making the playoffs.
I don't either.
I have them at 8-8, just missing out. I have 2 teams from the division. I have Indianapolis winning it, and I think Indianapolis. Another one of my bold predictions. We got a lot of them, and I'm not going to write any of them down. But I think another one of my bold predictions is that Indianapolis is my dark horse. They have Philip Rivers as their quarterback, so it won't happen. But they're with any other quarterback in the NFL, they're my dark horse Super Bowl team. I think
They have them in the Super Bowl right now?
I think their defense is wildly underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the best offensive line in football. Jonathan Taylor. At some point, Jonathan Taylor is going to take over as the starting running back. And we got to remember that this guy easily the best running back prospect since Saquon. A lot of people were calling him the best running back prospect since Zeke, which is a little hasty. But Jonathan Taylor is an absolute freak in terms of running back. That's a dimension right there, And I think that the Colts are going to do what the Titans did last year, but they have a better roster. They're just going to beat the hell out of you. And that's how the Colts are going to play football. That's it. They're not going to ask Phil Rivers to throw more than 25 times a game. They're going to beat the hell out of you, and they're going to win football games. I haven't won the division doing that. And then I have Houston making the playoffs because Deshaun Watson's too good for it not to happen.
Yep. I only have Houston.
I had Houston missing out at 7-9, and I said that I think if Houston goes 8-8, Deshaun Watson should win MVP because of how bad that team is.
Exactly.
But like, this is the same level of bad the team's been his entire time there, and they've won like 10.
I think losing DeAndre Hopkins really, really hurts that offense, though. I think it makes it like if Will Fuller gets hurt, when he gets hurt, let's be honest, that offense is Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb and whatever David Johnson dreams of being this season.
Let's not get it
I
twisted.
don't.
Brandon Cooks is a really good receiver.
Yeah, he is.
I just
good.
Was a really good receiver at one time. I don't know. I feel like he's regressed ever since New Orleans.
No.
He regressed last year, and I think he'll do worse this year than last year.
But did he regress last year, or did he have a recurring concussion problem?
No.
I mean, it's probably a mixture of that and being surrounded by two arguably better receivers, but
Is that true? Because he had 1,200 yards the year before with those two receivers.
I do think those two receivers are both better than them at this point in their careers. Better than him.
yeah. They've hopped him. I think he's regressed. He's officially regressed.
I just don't see.
In my mind.
I mean, Watson would have to do some 4,000 yards, 50 total touchdowns,
Which he could.
season for that team to be a 9-7 team in my mind. I think their defense is going to give up so many points. It's not even fathomable.
The same defense as last year, though.
Not even
The same putrid defense.
Right, and they won the division last year.
With a healthy J.J. Watt now.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the
This
Will
team-
Fuller thing.
This
Until
team has way too many players that need to stay healthy for them to succeed, in my mind. And all of these players don't stay healthy ever. So I don't see how this, even Deshaun Watson wills this team through this season. They don't even have a good coach.
That's true.
no, they don't. They have a very bad coach.
This is where I
Incredibly
disagree.
bad.
I was
Is this
having this
Bill
conversation
O'Brien?
with mates the other day. Bill O'Brien is an awful evaluator of talent. He should not be anywhere near a GM's office. But
Great guy.
when it comes to the X's and O's of football and drawing up an offense, he's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL.
I just want to figure out how much of it is him and how much is Deshaun Watson able to improvise when he plays football.
That's true. If he's a great offensive
But then
mind,
again, in this case, what does it matter? Because they're both there. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I understand that. And I don't have their offense being that much worse than last year. I just
Right.
think enough worse that they go 7-9 instead.
You just think that their luck is going to catch up with them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, essentially, I just have them losing 2 more games than they did last year.
Which is the
just
same
missing
thing.
playoffs.
It's also the same thing that I've been saying for Seattle for like the last 4 years. And at this point, I have just resigned to the fact that the Seahawks will
Yeah.
never be
I've
in a
had the Seahawks missing the playoffs 3 years in a row at like 8-8. And it never happens.
Nope.
I will say my biggest bold prediction for the year, my actual bold prediction for the NFL season is that if Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks combine for 24 games played, they split 12 games apiece, Deshaun Watson will win the NFL MVP this season.
I would take that.
I don't think that's that bold of a prediction.
I honestly don't think that's bold either because I think, it is kind of bold, but I think it's bold to assume that those guys are splitting for 24 games, to be honest.
Well, I think that prior to last year, Brandon Cooks hadn't missed a game in like 4 seasons. So
Will Fuller is going to eat all of those 8 games that they're allowed to miss.
can we agree that if, Bill O'Brien is this great offensive mind, can he please find a way to free Duke Johnson? Behind David Johnson. I'm a huge Duke Johnson guy.
That will not happen. Duke Johnson will never be freed.
No.
God.
I honestly think that their first down, their run game is just not going to be good. I don't think they have a first down back who I have faith in hitting the hole and getting 4 or 5 yards and making it easier on Deshaun Watson.
I also don't think that they plan on doing that at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think the point of bringing David Johnson in is to use them all over the place. I don't think – here's my thing, right? I believe in the politics of a football team, right? They invested too much in David Johnson for him not to work. So they would be silly to bring him in and just have him have Carlos Hyde's role from last year. Just run in between the guards, get 1,000 yards on 3.6 yards per carry, go have fun, and be Carlos Hyde. I think
Yes.
Brian is smart enough to know what David Johnson is good at.
How
That's
about
all.
this? I have them as the Arizona Cardinals of the AFC. And I
can
have
see
the
it.
Cardinals as a mediocre team, and that's where I have the Texans.
All right,
I
we're
think
just gonna disagree on that.
Carlos Hyde, a sneaky 1,000-yard rusher last year on Seattle now, right? Is that
Yeah.
where he's playing?
Yep.
Yeah.
But he'll get like 2 carries a game. So.
Yeah. Absurd.
I think the Texans are going to be good. I don't know why. I just love Deshaun Watson. I think, yeah, Zach, I think you're right. Thanks, Connor.
What's up, dude?
I assume that Connor's been trying to butt in. Honestly, Connor, just talk over us if it's happening. What do you got to say?
Don't worry about it, man.
What? No, just say your piece, dude.
Go for it. The floor
I
is
have
yours.
a piece. Just the fact that I'm falling asleep on my computer right now.
Then you said you could piece. Just give your picks and leave.
I don't have any picks, so
We've been making them as we go along. I
I'm
could
so
already
ill prepared for this.
Oh my gosh.
Connor, I just want to
Jesus.
know, moving forward, nobody's required to stay the whole time.
You can just leave.
You can leave whenever.
Just go to bed.
Dude, I'm like, you guys are all talking. I'm like, dude, how the hell am I supposed to do this right now?
No, we'll cut it. We'll cut it out. So if you want to leave, it's okay.
Bye, Connor.
You don't got a pick? You don't got a Super Bowl prediction? Nothing? Like, we just be like, hey, Connor,
No.
Okay.
You know what?
Oh
I'll think about it, and then I'll come back next time and have it right at the beginning.
I like
Okay.
that.
All right. Won't listen to anything.
After
that
watching
happens
Week
at this
1's
point.
games.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna watch Week 1.
He'll have it.
Yeah.
Connor will have his predictions when we do Hot Stove After Dark. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's that?
works.
When's that?
We'll record it either this week or this weekend or sometime next week.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
All
All right. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. All right. So now that the sleepy guy is gone,
Please don't.
Yeah, he
cut
was
any
was
of that
rolling.
out.
He was just
yeah.
No, not a true.
So it's all staying in. I'm not cutting any of that.
Okay, good.
Do you
Good.
think I'm active enough to edit this thing? That's not happening.
you will be for 2 weeks, and then you'll quit. That's what I did.
Well, you had me edit the first one of the
I did.
undergrad.
I did. And it sucks.
It did suck. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the NFC South now.
Thomas.
I know what to make of the division. It seems stale, but also exciting to me. That's the NFC South. Like, I think the NFC South is just going to shake out the same way it does every year, but the Bucs are going to be better. That's it.
Yeah.
I found
Okay.
myself buying
I
in.
see it.
Like, when do we resign to the fact that the Falcons just aren't that good of a team anymore?
Well, they're not making the playoffs, so.
Probably now. Didn't they? Was Vic Beasley there last year? This is the first year he's gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's gone. They really have no defensive talent. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think I
have
could
them
even
making
name.
playoffs either.
No, I have him at 7-9 just because the offense pretty much again. I think
I-
Todd Gurley will be a surprisingly good player again.
I have them at
I
9.
don't. Okay, yeah, right around where I am. I think Todd Gurley could rush for like 900 yards or so, 950, something like that. Nothing crazy, but like just
I
solid.
could
Yeah, I
also
could
see
see
him
it.
having a good season.
There's so little expectations on him. As long
Mhm.
as he can just stay healthy.
Which he did last year, to be fair. He played 16 games last season.
Exactly. I think he's. I don't think that's
think
a
They're just a
about
weird
that.
team where their offense just performs so well and then they just lose.
I think people kind of undercut that. Todd Gurley played 16 games and scored like 12 touchdowns last year. Like, it's not like he played
Oh,
poorly.
no, he was
Yeah,
good.
season.
It's just there was something. I don't know.
It's his knee. I mean, we know what it is.
Yeah.
It's not something.
Yeah,
he has arthritis.
They didn't want to. They didn't overwork him. I think that's
Yeah.
why he was able to have 16 games. But
But I don't know, man. I got the Saints winning the division.
Same.
I had
also
my.
have the Saints winning.
I bought in. I was doing this, and as I was going, I was just like, "Damn, I really have the Buccaneers. I have the Buccaneers going 12-4, winning the division."
I have the Bucks
Let's see.
11-5.
I also have 11-5, also in the
I have the
playoffs.
Bucks going 9-7.
I have
But
Saints
winning the playoffs.
10-6.
So here's the thing, right? I can kind of buy that. I've been talking myself out of the Bucks the last 2 days.
I haven't done.
I don't know what it is that's making me out on them because there's nothing really.
That's what I'm saying. What's
There's
there to be
nothing
out on?
really to be out on for them. Their defense is going to get better, and it was good at the end
But
of last season.
That's what I'm out on. Is it going to get better?
Yeah, don't you think Shaquille Barrett only gets that much better, right? Can he only get better?
Can he only get better
Think?
from having
He's still
20
so
sacks
young.
last season?
I
Well,
guess
definitely
I
get
guess
better,
that's a fair
right?
point. It's just the assumption that they're going to be better, but
fair.
why? But why?
I don't. That's what I'm like. I think that's why I'm talking myself out of them, right? Because like, part
I
of
think
me knows that defense overperformed last year.
yes.
I don't think
But-
they'll be the number one rushing defense in the league again.
Part of me knows that Todd Bowles is a really good defensive coach, and that team is young enough that they can still make strides, especially in the secondary. That's where I'm juggling it.
I think the sell would be that they're not going to turn the ball over 35 times.
That's true.
Yeah, I
That
think
not
what's
happen.
going to be good is Tom Brady knows how
league.
to control a game and keep the ball away.
Tom Brady will not throw 30 interceptions.
That's
That's what
that's about as much of a sure bet as you can
That'd
take.
be my biggest room for improvement is that they're going to have a much better time holding onto the ball and
Yeah.
not giving opportunities to the other team as much.
My argument against Tampa Bay right now is that I don't think I'm saying this on air. I don't think Tom Brady is good at football anymore. I think last year he was a below average quarterback, and I think he will stay that this year.
We're going to get to see it. Honestly, I mean, with that much talent,
Yeah.
those guys are going to be open. And if Tom Brady doesn't light it up, and I'm not saying like he's going to put up Peyton Manning numbers in Denver his first year because he's a little older than Peyton was when he moved. So he
Mhm.
shouldn't be that. But like, if
5
he,
years older.
That'd be great if he
Yeah.
does a Peyton Manning first year in Denver and then has a Peyton Manning second year in Denver and wins the Super Bowl that second year.
but like, honestly, the bar should be set at like 4,200 yards and like 30 touchdowns expectation wise,
I
right?
think
Like,
that
is that fair?
I don't know as
Yeah.
an expectation. I think the bar should be a little lower than that, but I don't see any problems with him hitting those numbers this year.
I think the over-unders are at like 3,800.
I'll take the over on that.
I would too, and like 26.
I just don't see the
touchdowns.
running backs putting up a lot of production, quite frankly.
Fournette, if Fournette isn't the necessary like first down, they're always going to run the ball. If they can actually use him versatilely, use him with versatility.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. Like they have such an off. Like he can run the ball. Rojo and I mean, dare I say, LaShawn McCoy can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Stop you right there. LaShawn McCoy.
Come on.
All right.
I'll stop
Oh,
you right there.
no.
LaShawn McCoy was
Nobody.
a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl.
Not why.
I'll also stop you there. Nobody in that backfield is catching balls out of the backfield unless Keyshawn Vaughn makes an appearance on the field.
Does Rojo not do that? Is that not his?
Leonard Fournette apparently can if he's forced to.
Leonard Fournette did have 70 catches last year. I think it's fair to say that he can catch the ball out of the backfield.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's necessarily very good at it or efficient, but he can do it if he's asked to do it, I think. And I think that's what they'll want from him more so. I see them playing the shotgun a lot and doing what the Eagles do, and most of their carries coming out of a shotgun set.
I just don't trust anything that Bruce Arians says about his running backs. This is
either.
more for
I
a
don't
fantasy perspective. But he spent the better part of the last 2 years telling us that Ronald Jones was the starting running back, and then gave more carries to Peyton Barber than him last year. And then this offseason drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, brought in LaShawn McCoy and Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, it's getting really strange what his intentions are.
And then after signing Leonard Fournette, still going on record saying that Ronald Jones is our guy.
I don't listen to anything Bruce Arians has to say about something that isn't passing the football.
Now, to be fair, he's been persuaded before. Let's not forget that when he was a coach in Arizona, he went with Andre Ellington as a starting running back until he realized that David Johnson was good at football.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I'm just saying, going into the season, like preseason, I don't trust a damn
To be
word.
honest, I don't see a single way that the first running back to take a snap isn't Leonard Fournette.
That too.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I think that the first snap and the first carry will go to Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones will probably lead the team in touches the first week, only because Leonard Fournette's only been there for like 6 days.
That's fair.
But
Yeah, I see that.
there, I think it's going to be a crapshoot, and I do think that even though it's minute, because I don't really think Fournette's that good, I do think he's better than Ronald Jones for what it's worth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Really, you're not really in on Leonard Fournette?
No, I think he's wildly
No.
inefficient.
That's fair.
I guess part of that
I
has
saw that. Yeah.
dumpster fire that's been the Jaguars. But so I guess we'll see. I guess the jury's still out.
Do all of us have Saints Bucks coming out of that division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have Bucks at top though. You guys have.
Yeah, and I Saints at top.
How bad do you have the Panthers performing? Any of you?
5-11.
I think they'll probably win. In the playoff predictor, I have them at 2-14. I think they'll probably win 4 or 5 games.
I had
I have
them
them
at
at
6 and
6
10.
I also have them at 6-10. I don't think they're going to be that bad, and
I don't either.
I love their offense. If you want me
Yeah.
to be honest, I really love the way their offense put together. Their defense, it's going to suck.
Am I
In a
blanking?
very offensive driven division. But I like
Am
their
I-
offense.
Who's their running back? Why am I blanking on?
Christian McCaffrey?
Oh my god, I'm a fool.
Oh.
I literally, dude, I had like a moment. I was like, why? Who's their? Why do you love their offense so much?
I'm big. I
Shoot
like
me.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I also like Teddy
Shoot me.
Bridgewater.
I've liked him since college.
I think they have the right weapons around him. I mean, I guess Robbie Anderson's a little weird for him, but I think he's an
Thank you,
accurate
Rob.
quarterback who can throw over the middle of the field. And I think DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel kind of fit that mold well. And Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's Christian.
I don't think Curtis Samuel's good at all, but that's just me.
I think
But I
DJ
think-
Moore should break Michael Thomas's record already this year. Dude, that
I don't know
guy
about
should be the
that.
only one catching balls on that team.
I don't know about that, Chief.
Just gun it to him.
Anyways,
Christian McCaffrey's gonna have 150 catches.
He might also.
Might have 500 touches this year.
which North Division do you want to talk about first?
AFC, because NFC is more fun for you. Save it to the end.
I guess, yeah. We'll save the least ceremonious division till the end. We'll save the most boring division in football to talk about.
Yeah.
So the AFC North. Do you guys have 2 or 3 playoff teams coming out of there?
One.
3.
You have 3? You have Cleveland?
I do have Cleveland.
I have 2.
I wrestled with it, and I ended up putting the Raiders in there over Cleveland, so I have 2.
Yeah.
I have
I think I
Pittsburgh.
have both those teams at 8-8, but the Browns have a tiebreaker of some sort.
They play each other.
Oh, well, there you go.
I have Pittsburgh and Cleveland at 7 and 9, not making it.
I
And
have
then
Pittsburgh
I
at 10 and
know-
6.
You may have done this on the fly, but you need to have Pittsburgh a lot higher than that. A lot better than that.
I think so. I think you're probably right about that.
I think they're gonna be the best defense in the league this year. I think they're gonna be the Bills of last year, or New England, whichever one you wanted to call the best. I think that's
New
gonna
England
be
was the
Pittsburgh.
best defense last year by a good margin.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on a limb and say the Steelers are gonna be that this year.
To be fair, the Steelers were like 3rd last year.
I think, and I would assume at the end of the season they were even better than they were at the
After the Minka Fitzpatrick trade, they were number 1 in the league.
Yeah, I kind of see that continuing. I don't think they're the same way that New England was like, we don't give up points, but I think they just have a lot of playmakers and a lot of people who can do a lot of crazy things. So they should be a fun team, especially
Big Ben is back, baby.
Yeah.
I only have them at 9 and 7. I'm not super high on the Steelers.
I have them at 11 and 5.
I'm super sold on Big Ben coming back and elevating their what otherwise would be garbage receivers, like Deontay Johnson, even that rookie Chase Claypool.
I've heard a lot of good Chase Claypool buzz.
I've heard nothing but good Chase Claypool
Yeah, me
stuff
too.
so far.
Yeah.
Apparently, dude's a beast.
I also think Deontay Johnson's good at football.
And James Washington too, but
This might turn into a fantasy conversation, but I don't get the Deontay Johnson hype.
I like the Deontay Johnson hype because they're throwing Juju back in the slot, and Deontay Johnson's gonna be
the X.
a big playboy.
I don't get it though, because James Washington led the team in receiving last year.
Because James Washington's really not very good at football. And Mason Rudolph was throwing the football last year, so yeah. Or not Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges
And Mason Rudolph.
And Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Mason Rudolph, he's got that OK State connection with James Washington. That's unfair. And Duck Hodges has problems, so.
I just don't think that we've seen anything that says that Deontay Johnson's really like that good. Like, I don't know. It's all, to me, it's like all speculation.
I think that's a lot of their offense this year, though.
Yeah, I'm not super high in their offense in general. I think the defense is great. I think there's a lot of question marks in the offense.
How are you going to feel when Ben throws for 4,500 yards?
Oh, I hope he does. Like, I hope he proves me wrong, but it's just one of those things. I don't know. I'm sort of out on the Steelers. Like, not out where I don't think they'll make the playoffs. Like, I do have them at 9-7 going in. The defense is obviously legit. I'm not too sure about Big Ben these days, which I don't know why I'm not.
I would say, I don't know why you wouldn't be. The last time we saw him on the field, he threw for 4,800 yards.
Oh, I'm completely aware.
Yeah.
I just, coming back.
Why not? He's a year off football.
Yeah, that's
pretty rough throwing arm injury.
Yeah, it's just I wouldn't
get the
be
question.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw for 4,500 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw for 2,500 yards. Like,
I would be very surprised if he threw for 2,500 yards.
That seems low, but I get what you were trying to say.
Yeah, it might have been an exaggeration.
That seems. Yeah, I was like that.
Both ends of the spectrum as well.
25, he gets replaced midway through the season. But yeah, I see what you were trying to say.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can see that there's a spectrum of what I think Big Ben could do this year, and I'm not super sold he'll be on the higher end of the spectrum.
I could agree with that. Do we all have the Ravens winning the division?
Yep.
Yes.
What record?
I have them 11-5.
I would have 12-4.
Josh?
I had 11-5.
I had 13-3.
I don't really know why I have them at 11-5. I don't actually see them regressing. I just think their division. I think the Browns play better and the Steelers play better and steal a game off of them, both of them, and that just takes them down a peg from last year when they.
Yeah, that's believable.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think they're really good, and so I have them going 13-3. I don't see any problems with that.
They have to play some tough teams too. I mean, they end up playing Houston, the Chiefs, the Cowboys.
Let's not forget the stretch last year where they played Kansas City, Houston, and New England back to back to back and whooped all three of them.
Exactly my thinking.
That's fair.
Yeah. It was just not fair. Like that three-game stretch. They beat them. I think the smallest deficit between the two of them was like 20. Like those games were not a contest.
That's when they became legit, I think, in the eyes of many.
And then the Bills competed with them.
That is true.
The Bills just go out there and compete,
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Joe Burrow and the Bengals? Do you think they have a big improvement coming?
I think they've got a few wins in them.
Big improvement in that they shouldn't be the worst team in football.
Do you think that they figure out that passing 75% of the time with a player like Joe Mixon is not the strategy to protect your first overall pick? Or do you think they just throw him out there and let him go at it?
I think they're going to be on the field a lot. I think the defense sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a situation in which Joe Burrow can probably break the rookie passing records, and Joe Mixon touches the ball 22 times a game. I can
see both those things happening too.
Yeah.
I think it's scary as a guy who always owns Joe Mixon to just can't wait to see opening drive of the season, pass 2nd and 10, pass 3rd and 10, pass 4th and 10, punt. I mean, the scary or the classic. The Cowboys love this too. The pass 2nd and 10,
run 2nd and 10,
3rd and 9.
Yeah,
and then bang, we're done. This series is over. And that's what scares me is their play calling has been so what's a antithesis of dynamic? Boring.
Yeah, I think boring is the word. Yeah.
Mediocre.
I think they just need something, a spark. I
Mark,
think they can do that.
as a person who I'd like to think you think, you said with Big Ben, players coming off injuries, maybe people who haven't played in a while. What do you think about AJ Green this year? Can he come back and be AJ Green?
I think he's going to be good. I don't know if he's AJ Green, but then again, he's a lot younger than Big Ben.
But wide receivers age quicker.
AJ
That's
Green,
also
same age as Julio.
Is he?
31.
I think he'll be
42
really
for a
good.
quarterback.
Yeah, 31. They're on their deathbed right now.
He's such a great athlete that I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about AJ Green, so you sort of caught me off guard with that question. But I'm someone who owned AJ Green like 4 straight years in fantasy, and the dude's a monster when he's healthy.
I think
Just
watch
absolute
out
monster.
for T. Higgins.
Oh, T. Higgins, yeah.
I don't actually think T. Higgins is
Yeah,
going to have much of a role this year. I'm joking. I just want to move the show on. To the best division in football, the NFC North. Does anybody have anything interesting to say about the division? Because I sure as hell don't.
I have 2 teams making the playoffs.
I have
That's
one, and
wild
all of you
to me.
hate them.
I also have 2 teams making the playoffs.
That's
And
insanity.
I have the Bears as only tie-breaked out. Almost 3 teams making the playoffs.
Jeez.
I have the Bears and Vikings.
I have one team making, and you hate them all. You guys all hate them.
You have the Lions. I have
That's pretty bold.
I have one team, and I don't like that one team making the playoffs. Like, I wish 0 teams could make the playoffs. I have the Bears winning the division, and I don't like it.
They win the division at 6-10.
My thing is, I think every one of these teams just has a glaring problem, and it's just, like the Bears, obviously. I mean,
they're all big problems.
The Vikings, for me, I think if Dalvin Cook plays 16 games, they could be a 9-7 team and make the playoffs.
This is the issue for me. I think every team in the NFC North has a massive hole. The Bears, it's the most important position on the field. The Packers, it's the entirety of their defense isn't very good. And the fact they don't want to let Aaron Rodgers throw the ball. The Vikings, they don't have a secondary anymore, if anybody was wondering. And
Tried
the
out last week.
Lions
And
just suck.
the Lions, I don't understand how you have the Lions as your playoff team, Josh. I'm going to be honest.
I'll tell you.
I don't see
Josh,
the upside.
We're going to
Okay.
get Josh the floor to defend himself on his own.
I gotta get ready for this one. Defensively, it's rough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Defensively, it's not great. Now, I think that cornerback they brought in from Ohio State's really good.
Oh, he's really
Now,
good.
do I think a cornerback is gonna influence an entire team's defensive scheme and problem? No, I'm not a moron, but I think it helps.
You do have the Lions in the playoffs, so
And
we're sure about
I'm waiting. Matt Patricia, a defensive-minded coach, at some point, I'd like to think that it's gonna work.
You're waiting for him to make a single good coaching decision.
Also, offensively, I don't know what you guys like a massive hole. I like their offense probably the most in that division. Probably. I think Matt Stafford's legitimately a top 10 quarterback. Like really good, played really good last year.
He is good.
I think
Matt Stafford's
the
good.
running game, they don't have a sole running back necessarily, but I don't think it's because of a lack of talent. I think it's almost an overabundance of talent at the position. That Kerryon Johnson, when healthy, can be a top running back and consistently. AP I think he's rushed for a combined like over 1,700 yards in the last 2 years.
To be fair, just like a couple of things. Kerryon Johnson only did it for one season, and Andrew Peterson has rushed for over 1,900 yards in the last 2 seasons.
Even better. Yeah. And DeAndre Swift, the young rookie man. I mean, I thought he's hurt. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes. But then you look at his weapons. I think Galladay is a stud wide receiver, really good. I'd like Marvin Jones to complement him. And I think TJ Hawkinson is just waiting. I think he's really, really good.
There's a lot of evidence behind a year 2 jump at tight end. when it comes to stuff like that. So I don't hate it. I think there's a good shot the Lions could have the best offense in that division. And in that case, I guess they wouldn't be the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL. But
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that everything goes wrong for the Lions this season.
I think the problem is that to win the game, they need to let Matt Stafford throw the ball 55 times, but they won't. Matt Patricia won't let it happen. He'll want to play run and defense, and his defense bad, and the running game won't be good outside of them being passing down backs. I don't think they're going to want to line up in a single back and run the ball, but I think he's going to make them do it. I think it's going to be poor coaching is why their offense won't succeed, not lack of talent.
I really do think that Matt Patricia is a bad coach. Like,
I don't think that's a bad take.
yeah, it shouldn't be a hot take to say that.
Yeah.
And he's fat.
I'm not as out on the Packers as all of you guys. I have them at 10-6. Slight regression because obviously they won a lot of close games and had the worst net of a 13-3 team ever in the history of football. But I think they have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and that's all I care about.
Aaron Jones. Not to say that he's going to repeat 20 touchdowns, but I mean
Aaron Jones is
should
super
be able to
talented.
run the ball.
Hashtag free Aaron Jones. I'll say it till the day I die.
Yeah, great. He was finally free and he scored 19 touchdowns.
Exactly. This is why you free Aaron Jones. This is why. And you know what they do? They go and draft A.J. Dillon.
Fools.
Jordan Love and A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, I was
That'll
going to
put him
say,
over
can
the
we
hump.
forget how they drafted Jordan Love, too? That's
So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think all these teams have potential to just be terrible this season, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I could see a world where each one of these teams only win like 6 games. In a
Mhm.
Yeah. As much as I was in on the Lions, I mean, Stafford could just regress. This could be his last year. Like, this could be the year. He's been too good for too long. Also, I was talking about, as you guys were talking about, I was like, oh my God, he could fall apart. This could be it. I was like, this could be the year.
For great quarterbacks, there isn't such a thing as too good for too long. They're just good
That's true.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's just a really talented quarterback.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
So
just
that's
waiting
it.
for him to get Barry Sanders.
yeah, which will never happen. But
No, well,
I
one of these years he's gonna get sick and tired of it and just retire.
Speaking about that, I'm really looking forward to AP potentially passing Barry Sanders on the all-time rushing list in a Lions uniform. That'd be
It'll
great.
take him 2 years because I think he's a little over 1,000.
Is he that far away?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was more like 800.
Well, let me look it up.
well, even
Either
if it
way,
is,
I
he
don't
won't
think
get that this year.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get that this year.
You never know. Matt Patricia's a bad coach.
That's true.
Matt
That's
Patricia's
true.
in love with Adrian Peterson.
It could be the same thing that Jay Gruden did last year.
I could very well see a world where Kerryon Johnson comes out for the first snap and then doesn't see the field again until the second half because Adrian Peterson has one good run and Matt Patricia falls in love.
It's just toting out there for 3.2 yards a carry.
You are right, though, Austin. He's 1,000 yards away. So
Okay.
that's at least a 2-year beast. And he only signed a 1-year contract, but would be cool.
Yeah.
In my
And then he retires a Lion.
mind.
He goes into Canton with a Lions jersey.
Gets
He's
his
one, though,
number
that-
retired.
I mean, he could play with the Lions the next 4 years, retire a Lion on that. He's still a Viking, right? I mean,
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
matter
no,
what,
it's-
he's a
That's not
Viking.
I mean, is Tom Brady a Patriot? Like, what kind of
Yeah,
question?
exactly. Yeah,
Tom
of
Brady
course.
is a buck a year.
I'm looking forward to the day where Tom Brady enters Canton with the skull and crossbones on his bust. I'm ready for that. All right, so I think that concludes our division previews for the year.
Do we have a Super Bowl winner? Do we all have Super Bowl winners?
Yeah, we can do that. Our way too early
Yeah.
predictions.
Didn't Mark have Chargers Eagles last year?
He did.
Damn.
Did I have the
Chargers
Saints?
Saints. Chargers Saints. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did
I
have
knew
the
I had
Chargers, so I'm
Saints.
gonna hold you that.
He
I had
certainly
Jacksonville the year before, so I like my picks a lot better this year. So
Give me 1 second to change some stuff.
All right. You want me to go then?
Yeah, you can go.
I don't care about all the rest of the playoffs. That's all whatever. But like basically all you need to know is it was chalk through the AFC that I just had Ravens Chiefs in the finals there. I had the Chiefs repeating, entering the Super Bowl, winning the AFC.
Mhm.
NFC little bit of a homer move. Cowboys Bucks in the NFC Championship game. I got the Cowboys winning it all. It's my bold Super Bowl prediction.
So with that prediction, you have to have Dakota Prescott making $45 million a year after the season. If he beats Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game,
He's
And
gonna,
Pat Mahomes.
regardless of what happens in the Super Bowl,
he's gonna be
going
a
to
billionaire.
get.
Now, to be fair, Jerry Jones has buffed this. They should have already paid the man.
Hear me out. As stupid as it sounded when you first franchise tagged him this year, and you're like, next year it's gonna be $38 million. I could see him getting tagged again next year. I really could.
Yeah.
It's $37.5 million.
It's gonna be
Not
less
gonna
than
be
they actually
ideal.
be paying him.
Not ideal, but I could see him tag him because it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be cheaper than what they'd have to pay him on a contract.
I just did it, by the way. I have it kind of chalked through the AFC-ish. And then the NFC, I have Seahawks Saints in the NFC Championship. And I have the Saints. I know I picked them last year, but I got the Saints. I think, for my money, the Saints have the best roster in the National Football League. I think the defense is so good. So good. And I got the Saints beating out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Oh, since we're chalking it up on this Zoom call, I'll continue with saying I have the Chiefs beating the Saints in the Super Bowl. Extreme chalk.
Yeah, we're all real bold, aren't we?
I have nothing left to say. I wanted to go bold, but it's like how? I just don't know where I can go bold.
Yeah.
I have the Bears beating the Broncos.
Hey.
Mm.
And now I have Seattle, Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
Is that all four of us with Kansas City in Super Bowl?
Yep.
I don't think there's any other logical conclusion.
You know what that certainly means, right?
They're
That
not going.
They're
to
not
the Super
going to
Bowl.
make the Super Bowl.
That certainly means they're going to lose in the divisional round. That's what that means.
Andy Reid will get the bad omen again. Like, oh, see, it was a fluke.
I do have them
Best.
playing the Steelers in their first game of the playoffs, so maybe Big Ben pulls out a
Rabbit out of the hat.
miracle
Here's the
playoff
problem. It's at Arrowhead, so that just won't happen.
Yeah.
Well, at Arrowhead with what, 12 fans? What's the difference? What's it matter?
Ben Roethlisberger is a bad quarterback on the road. That's what it matters.
Oh. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the
but
stadium
Ben
at Arrowhead.
Roethlisberger gets hurt in the first quarter, and Duck Hodges off the practice squad comes into the
They were-
game
No, he's gone.
This sounds awfully
back
familiar
on the
to me.
practice squad.
Oh, did they re-sign him to the practice squad?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
probably
This is just the Eagles thing last year.
Wow.
But I actually have Kansas City beating New England in the championship round.
Is this-
Good. Wow, you have.
I was about to
England
say it's
making
just
the
2014, but what
AFC
that means is this last year?
Oh, that's good.
I believe in the Patriots.
Does anybody have
Respect.
any bold predictions for the year? I think my firm bold prediction is that the Jets, I'll go bold on it. The Jets are going to be the worst team in the NFL this year.
That's not that bold.
I don't think it's that bold, but my logic disagrees.
I think most people will default to Jacksonville with the amount
Yeah.
they've done. I think the Jets will be the worst team in the NFL this year.
I think my originally it's not bold anymore. I was gonna say I think that San Fran regresses to a point of mediocrity.
Yeah.
I don't know about mediocrity. I think they're too good.
I think my more bold take was I think the Rams are gonna have a top 3 offense and win 10 games.
That's bold.
I don't know. What do you mean by and win 10 games? Is that a negative or a positive?
A positive.
Is that
I
an
think coming off
positive?
of a 8-8 season.
Is that an indictment on their defense or is that a plus about their offense? I couldn't really tell.
How about this? They'll win 11 games.
I don't think it's that, and it's just me playing devil's advocate, right? I don't think it's that particularly bold to think that a team that had a top 5 offense 2 of the last 3 years could do it again.
I mean, they were bad last year.
But I think a lot of the numbers show that the bad that they were, and their bad was really condensed to like only 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
I think the number, and again, this is just me being an asshole about it. But
Yeah.
the numbers kind of show to me that a lot of that bad was bad luck. Like, for example, Jared Goff's touchdown rate was like half of his career average. Like, had he had his normal career touchdown rate last year, he would have gone from like 23 touchdowns to like 36.
So
Like, I don't.
what would you say is more bold? That I have the Niners winning 8 games, or that I have the Rams being an unreal offense and winning 10 games?
I think the Niners being 8-8 is a far more bold take,
I also have that.
considering they represented the NFC in the Super Bowl last year.
I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to be Atlanta after Atlanta's Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, the Super Bowl hangover is real. I
Yeah.
also have the Niners missing out on the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, I think they'll regress to that point.
Yeah, I have them winning 8
More
games.
bold than assuming that the Rams can have like a top 3 offense. That's just me.
I think my bold.
You know.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. My bold prediction would have to be obviously the playoff predictor thing, whatever I was speeding through. 3 AFC teams is wild, but I think just saying 2 teams will make it from the AFC East is kind of bold.
I think it is kind of bold.
I think it's pretty bold.
So I'll say that.
Even in a 7 playoff team format,
Yeah, exactly.
I still think it's kind of
I
bold.
think 2 teams will make it from the AFC East. Sadly, I think it will probably be the Bills, and I really think Miami could compete this year. I don't know why. They love playing for Brian Flores. They really do love that coach.
They've done the rebuild properly.
Yeah, got a good coach in there. Worked out like a kind of like a trust the process like feel.
They're definitely a next year 10-win team.
Oh yeah, they're definitely like everybody's trendy pick next season.
Yeah.
Yep.
My bold pick would have to be that, and this isn't even a homer thing. I think Carson Wentz is going to be an MVP finalist.
Not bad.
It could happen. I mean, if the Eagles perform and win the division, I could see it then.
Yeah,
That's what he's going to need to do.
They're going to win that division. I think he's going to be the Carson Wentz we saw before he had that horrific leg injury a few years ago where he was going to win MVP.
I just think that Carson Wentz is really good at football.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be that bold. I think it's more bold based on the Eagles roster situation and their injury situation. I think that's what makes it bold. I don't think it's Wentz's talent that makes it bold.
Yeah, if he does it.
Yeah, I just think they'll be able to push through, and I think Carson Wentz is going to be a finalist or possibly win the MVP this year.
If he does it with one of his main wideouts being J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Listen.
Yeah, that'd be pretty impressive. I'd say that's bold.
Whiteside and
the fact that the whole narrative in the offseason was, well, now that they got Wentz weapons is baffling to my brain. Do you know what they're starting the season with?
Well, they had gotten Wentz weapons, and then the weapons went and promptly got injured. So,
as they do
one weapon that they called a weapon that opted out, we all know, was never going to be a weapon on that team.
Marquise Goodwin, Josh.
I was like, I missed something.
I really like Marquise Goodwin. I thought that was a good pickup.
I just don't think he's a very good receiver, but I think he's an athlete.
Yeah, he's a speed demon.
And that's what the Eagles' offense is going to be built around this year. All of the receivers they got either via the draft or
be built around the skeleton of Sean Jackson.
Yeah, it is. It's just every receiver's running down the field, and Wentz is just going to gun it.
Miles Sanders
with their third string left tackle and Jason Peters playing right guard.
No, Jason Peters made the transition today. He's playing left tackle.
Oh my gosh! All right, Cart, just start Hurts. I don't need to see Wentz get hurt
again. So we're gonna move it forward. Let's talk about Week 1. What is it? It's now almost 1 a.m. here Eastern time. And so that means that we are officially 1 calendar day away from the kickoff of the NFL season. Chiefs, Texans.
Chiefs by 1,000,000.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
I was going to say, I know you guys are big Houston fans here, but I have the Chiefs by 1,000,000 points on Thursday.
I think that I don't know if you know, but the Chiefs have 3 defensive starters suspended. for week 1, as well as another 1 or 2 injured and won't play.
All right, Chiefs by 500,000.
What's the over/under on the game?
Probably a
Over/under is 54.5. Chiefs are favored by 9.
Chiefs favored by 9.
points?
9.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs by 9.5 on what I'm saying, but yeah.
God
Yeah.
almighty. I will take the Texans to cover every day and twice on Sunday. Jesus.
Did you see? I think it was a guy at CBS Sports. Someone predicted the Chiefs to win like 54-23.
That person is on that. Absolutely on the pack. That
Dude
is
smoking crack. I mean, what the hell?
I
are there
don't
any
know if I
games-
would take Texans to cover. I really don't.
Are there any games this week that really pop out to you guys?
In
Dallas
terms of
Rams.
betting or just in general.
No,
The
I'm not
Dallas.
betting. We're not degenerates here, Mark.
Well, I am
We're
now.
just talking
I-
about football.
Dallas and the Rams for me.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
my
I was
most
just thinking
interesting
the same
game to
thing.
me.
That's the telltale. I mean, that's honestly, that could start the whole season off on a good note. As a
That-
fan, like that's
Yeah, I'll throw
The
another one
game-
out there. Keep going, Josh.
that's a game a contender wins. Like you go into their home, brand
Mhm.
new flashy home. I know no fans really as much, but like you go in there, you take the win Sunday night, big time moment.
Whoa, the Cowboys playing on Sunday night. Who would have thought? No, that's
Ooh.
right.
know.
I think that's the first game where the Rams actually like come out and show people that they're the Rams of the Super Bowl year and not the Rams of last year.
They're the
Their
Rams
game-
yonder.
They
Yeah.
played last year, right? Their game last year was super competitive.
I think that game is
I
getting
remember.
really competitive and really high scoring. That's what I think.
I also
last
think it's
year,
going to
yeah.
be super high scoring.
Yeah, over under is 51.5 on that
I'll
game.
take the over.
Yeah, I would too.
Um,
But another one I want to throw out there: Tennessee Denver, the late game Monday.
Oh, I don't care at all.
I
about-
think it'll be interesting to see how what Tennessee does and what Denver does. Like
I-
those are two.
I find
teams
pretty
that-
much any game that Denver's playing in this season pretty intriguing just for their offensive standpoint. Until Drew Lock's
Yeah.
just bad. If he's continuously good, I find all their games intriguing with their offensive talent.
And is Tannehill going to be really good? Is Derrick Henry still going to be the best running back? Like on
I think
God's green earth?
Tannehill's certainly a big question. If Tannehill's Tannehill from the end of last season again, then you have to really wonder like
Then he's the best quarterback in NFL history. If Tannehill's the Tannehill from the second half of last season.
Yeah. It's just that game intrigues me because there's a lot of question marks for both those teams, and they're going up against each other week 1. I don't know. I like that game.
I'm surprised neither of you guys mentioned it. The game that intrigues me the most is Saints Bucks.
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna
Tom
say
Brady's first game in
Yeah.
a Bucs uniform.
the obvious
Going up against Drew Brees and
Brady
Oh
Breeze.
yeah, I love that game. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to watch that game on Sunday. I think it's gonna be fascinating. I love it, and I'm also interested in the Steelers Giants game on Monday night.
why is that not the Sunday night game?
Huh?
Why is
LA's new stadium.
but it's Brady Breeze. Like I get
Yeah.
it's LA's new stadium.
Well,
but
is that
I'm
4
sorry, you don't
o'clock game?
understand. The Dallas Cowboys
It's
football.
that too, Mark.
yeah,
Sunday night
it's
football.
just
You could put them on. Dallas would still get more views than them on
I
a
mean,
Sunday. It doesn't matter.
Brady is certainly bigger than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really
Tom
close.
Brady. It's
Not money wise, baby. Who
It's
who
arguably
watches?
the two greatest
watches?
quarterbacks to ever step on a football field.
No,
Again.
I think Brady's bigger money wise.
But again, I don't think you
Look at
understand.
the ratings.
The Dallas
Cowboys.
Cowboys are playing football.
Look at the ratings and tell me Brady's bigger than the Cowboys. You
I
can't.
think if there was a Super Bowl tomorrow, Brady would bring more people to watch than the Cowboys.
Can we not do this?
All right.
Can we not?
Hey, we've been really good this show.
No one cares. Okay?
Just saying.
Really, no one cares. Honestly.
He started.
I'll tell you what's intriguing: watching the Washington football team start 1-0. That's going to be really intriguing.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
I'm 100%.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and disagree.
If there's an upset of the week category on this show, I'm full in on the Washington football team winning week 1.
No,
Are we doing?
Are we doing one hot minute?
We're doing one hot minute. I didn't have it planned.
Let's make it
I
happen.
mean, 1 hot minute's a staple, though.
I know.
Without Connor, what is it though?
Yeah.
It's
For sure.
people making actually educated picks.
Yeah, I'm interested in the first Monday night game, Pittsburgh, New York, because I think Ben Roethlisberger might come in and throw for 450 yards. Like, Ben Roethlisberger is that kind of guy. He's like, oh, y'all counted me out, right? My first game back this season, I'm on the road, Monday Night Football, prime time, against one of the worst defenses in football. I'm going to throw 75 times. I don't care how many points we score. We're going to put up 100 points if we can. I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to light this team up to hell and back. I don't think it's going to be particularly close at all.
And you know what the best part about watching Giants games are is that you still get to watch Saquon Barkley play football even when they're getting blown out. So it's like it's still fun to watch.
Like, I think the Giants are going to get clapped. If I had one guarantee for this week, it's that the Giants lose by at least 20 points.
Zach, what would you
Really?
guess the line is on that game?
The line, Pittsburgh -6.
It is 6, actually.
I thought you were
that's
gonna
too
go way
low.
high.
I didn't look at it. That was just a guess.
Yeah, I think that's too low.
I
I
don't
will
think
hammer the Steelers in that game.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know if I value my division higher or whatever, but like I don't think the Giants are just that big of a walkover. Defensively, yeah, they could really just get lit up.
Right,
You
and then
think
when
their
Daniel
offense is
Jones-
just
you
not
know,
gonna have anything
Daniel
to
Jones
do?
was on pace for 40 fumbles last year, right?
I like Daniel Jones. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I love Daniel.
I don't
Jones.
think he's a bust by any means yet.
I don't
Yet.
think that
I
either.
don't think he's a
I'm just saying that-
bust. I just don't think he's that good.
I just think that he has a turnover problem, and facing the Steelers defense week 1 is not going to be the remedy.
I'm
That's
gonna
all.
be excited to
I
see
agree.
what I'm gonna be interested to see what the Jason Garrett implemented offense has to do in New York now. If
I
Evan
think
Ingram gets unleashed,
I think they're going to hand off the ball the same,
Yeah, they might.
as
They
well.
just might.
and then they're going to hand it off some more. And they're going to throw to Sterling Shepard like 6 times, and then they're going to go 3 and out a lot because their offense isn't going to be very good. And then Jason Garrett.
maybe. I would be interested, but yeah, I mean, I get it. But I think the play action game, I think Evan Ingram's gonna get more involved. I think that team could be
Everything's really good.
Very
He's
good.
very good.
unleash that man.
But no, I don't think this game is going to be remotely close. But I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
I think that should be a fun game too. I
I'm
don't know. I
excited
guess
to see.
there's some fun in Cincinnati's opening game, just to
They
see
play
how
the
Burrow
Chargers.
plays.
They might get steamrolled, but
It might, but I think there's just some fun in seeing the number 1 overall pick come out with the weapons he has and see how that offense performs.
yeah.
I'm excited to see Ryan Fitzpatrick throw for 560 yards in week 1.
With the Bengals, that you like jokingly said T. Higgins earlier, but do you think he walks in as the 3 in
I
front of
think that-
Auden Tate?
He walks. I don't know. I think he's more talented than Auden Tate.
Mhm.
Well, John
Pretty
Ross.
easy to say.
Or John Ross?
I don't
Actually.
think John Ross is good at football. So
I also don't think he's good at football, but I
So-
think he's fast.
T. Higgins is probably the 4th on the team at best starting the season, behind AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, and John Ross.
Yeah.
I don't have much of an outlook for him. Like, I just think this is a move for next year, right? So like, say AJ Green retires or he's gone next year. Like, T. Higgins is really talented, and he can just slot right in to that AJ Green role if they ever need him. Or when AJ Green gets injured again, T. Higgins is going to step up. He's going to be the one to step up.
Mhm.
I thought T. Higgins was a small guy. No, am I miscalculating what he was? I thought he was like a slot tiny guy.
No.
I'm a fool.
That big catch guy.
One game we didn't talk about, which is actually the closest
Oh.
in odds, Seattle at Atlanta. Are we
That's gonna be a fun
all
game, too.
just out on Atlanta so much to say Seattle's just going to win this game easily? Or
Yeah, I don't get why Atlanta's +2.
No, I don't necessarily think that, because I don't know how much I buy into Seattle's defense, and I think that Seattle always finds a way to be losing at the start of the 4th quarter. So
Yeah.
I think that the game is going to be pretty close, and I also think it's going to be fairly high scoring. So, but what were you going to say, Josh? You made a gasp. Did you look up T. Higgins?
Yeah, he's 6'4", 215. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
by no
Large
means a tiny
human
guy.
being.
Yeah, he's a beast. Much happier that I drafted. We had the dynasty draft before this. I took Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. And I was like, yeah, some little tiny guy will run around.
Those are good picks. They should be around
Yeah.
there for a while.
Hopefully.
They
So I
both
think
they both get traded to separate teams.
we're going to spin it forward here. And I think to round out the show, I'm going to do some DFS talk for week 1, right? So, like, we're bringing this segment back for sure. Okay.
Let's go.
So this is all based on FanDuel pricing. I know Mark does DraftKings, but that's
I got a new phone, so I'm
So-
going to download FanDuel this time.
the better app. Okay, that makes sense.
As someone who is not going to do daily fantasy often this year, I am solely going to use your lineups every week. So
Yeah, I'm putting in my money for
Here's the
this.
thing, right? Like, last year I did pretty well doing that. You guys made some money off me last year.
Yeah, I made some money off you a couple times.
Okay, so I have 2 lineups that I want to bring up this week. So the first one is my all-week lineup, Thursday through Monday night. The other one is my, the main Sunday main lineup. So for my Thursday through Monday, my quarterback stack, because you know me with my DFS lineups, I always go stack in my lineups. It's the only way to go. My quarterback stack goes with the game that I'm most excited to see. I have Ben Roethlisberger and Juju Smith-Schuster as my quarterback wide
They
receiver.
might connect for 4 touchdowns.
Because I think that obviously Juju is Ben's favorite target, and I think that this is the perfect kind of blow-up spot for that. My 2 running backs, again, I like to spend a little bit, so I went with Josh Jacobs as my first running back. He's currently priced at 8,200, which is running back 7 in FanDuel this week. I like him a lot against Carolina's defense. They were last in terms of fantasy points per game last year against running backs, and I don't see that changing very much at all. And one thing that John Gruden likes to do, right? Run the football. So I think Josh Jacobs is a prime candidate to get a lot of work and probably get a lot of yardage and maybe even a couple touchdowns against the Panthers this week. My other running back is a little bit on the cheaper side. I went with Marlon Mack as my second running back. I think he's going to open the year as the starter for the Indianapolis Colts, and I think that their first 4 weeks of matchups are so good that he might be able to stave off Jonathan Taylor for the first month or so of the season. And even if Jonathan Taylor and him are evenly splitting touches, they're playing Jacksonville week 1, which should be a good enough matchup that either of them will succeed. And I like Marlon Mack a lot at 6,100, which is a current price point. My other 2 receivers I went with Tyreek Hill in the Thursday night game this week. There's not really much to say about that. Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, that connection is insane. I think the chalk play this week at wide receiver is going to be Will Fuller, especially with the news that Brandon Cooks didn't practice today. Today being Tuesday. Brandon Cooks has not participated in practice yet this week. He has a hamstring injury currently. All of the bigging up that I did about Brandon Cooks being durable, he is in serious threat to not play this week. So I think Will Fuller will probably be the chalk play at wide receiver this week. Assuming he doesn't leave the game injured, he will probably have north of 10 catches and well north of 100 yards. I think that's a pretty easy bank for this game, especially if Brandon Cooks doesn't play. So if you want to go with the chalk play at that, I would definitely go with Will Fuller. My other chalk play at receiver should be Deshaun Jackson for literally everyone. Let's not forget last year, week 1 against Washington, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 154 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I see no reason. They basically have the same wide receiver room this year that they had week 1 last year. I see no reason why Deshaun Jackson shouldn't be in prime spot for a blow-up spot this week against Washington. And then my tight end and flex, I actually went with a 2 tight end lineup this week in my Thursday through Monday. I went with Hayden Hurst. I think Hayden Hurst is the best value this week in DFS. He's currently 5,300 on FanDuel, which is, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Tight end 15 in terms of pricing on FanDuel. And I may or may not be the Hayden Hurst guy on the podcast. Matt Ryan has been quoted a few times this offseason saying that Hayden Hurst is the most athletic tight end he's ever played with. Mind you, Matt Ryan played with Tony Gonzalez. So that's a pretty high amount of praise coming from him. And I think that there's a good shot. I mean, Atlanta's as good as a bet as any team to throw 600 passes this year. And I think that they're so concentrated that there's a good chance that Hayden Hurst gets well over 100 targets this season. And in that case, I love him against Seattle week 1. And then my other flex, George Kittle against Arizona is too good not to have in your lineup. I usually don't go with a tight end in the flex, but Arizona was the worst team against tight ends last year. And I don't usually like to point that out, but I don't think they've done anything to get better. And also, if Deebo Samuel doesn't play, George Kittle is going to have like 15 catches this week. So I love George Kittle as well. And then my defense, I went a little cheap on it, but also I went with, I think, my favorite defensive streamer this week. So if you have, for example, if you have the Saints or the Bucks defense and you have an open roster spot in like your actual fantasy league and you're looking for a defensive streamer, like you drafted the Chiefs defense, for example, definitely pick up the Indianapolis Colts defense this week. They're 3,700 on FanDuel, and they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that game should be a blowout, an absolute blowout. Now, it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky because I do kind of like Jacksonville's offense this year. So maybe I could revisit that defense pick. Let me see because that lineup that I gave you guys for the Thursday through Monday leaves $100 open for budget.
Take the Lions or the Bucks.
Yeah, I would rather have Indianapolis than Detroit, Tampa Bay, and Dallas, who are all around there. In terms of every defense that's 3,800 or below, I would easily, most likely, have the Colts out of any of those defenses this week. So that is my Thursday through Monday lineup. And then the staple of everybody's DFS tournament play, the main, 1 p.m., 4 p.m., Sunday afternoon. It's a little bit similar. I do have some overlap with these two lineups. I have Josh Jacobs in my main lineup as well as Deshaun Jackson and Hayden Hurst. Like I said, all three of those guys I think are too good to not have in your lineup this week, especially Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst was I've made 2 lineups this week. He was the first player that I put in both of those lineups because I saw how cheap he was. And I think there's no reason to believe that he shouldn't be, at the very least, a top 10 tight end season long. And he's in prime spot for a blow-up spot this week against Seattle. Keeping with that stack, by the way, I have Matt Ryan as my quarterback in my main lineup here. He's 7,800 on FanDuel, which is quarterback 5, but I am willing to pay up for a game that I think should be pretty high scoring. And we know one thing that Dirk Cutter likes to do, throw the football. The Falcons are not only number 1 in pass attempts overall, but they're number 1 in situation neutral pass attempts. So regardless of whether they're winning, losing, or tied, they're going to throw the football a ton. And Matt Ryan is in for big points in a game that I think should be pretty high scoring against Seattle this week. My second running back next to Josh Jacobs I have is Austin Eckler of the Chargers. He is, in terms of pricing, he's the 6th highest running back at 7,700 in the main slate this week. And I think he should be in for a big workload against a really bad defense. That's the number 1 formula to fantasy success. Definitely take him against the Bengals this week. My other 2 wide receivers outside of Deshaun Jackson are Allen Robinson against the Lions. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I don't think the Lions should be all that good, especially defensively this year. And Allen Robinson was 2nd in the NFL in targets last season behind Michael Thomas. So he should be in line for a lot of work, regardless of who's playing quarterback.
I like it.
And my other wide receiver is T.Y. Hilton, actually, against Jacksonville. Now, you may look and say, oh, T.Y. Hilton, the Jaguars were 6th best against passing defense or against passing offenses last year in fantasy. You know what doesn't matter?
Not going to be this year.
Literally any of that, okay? Now, I understand that Frank Reich has a tendency to just run the hell out of the ball when they're in the lead, but I think if you can get 7, 8 catches from T.Y. Hilton, however many yards and a touchdown, which I think is a completely reasonable estimation, then you should be happy having T.Y. Hilton in your lineup this week. And then I also, in my flex, I have Devontae Adams, who I think is a bet every week as any receiver out there. They're playing Minnesota this week, who I mentioned earlier in the podcast, lost all of their secondary. And I think, even though I think the Packers are going to be fairly run-heavy this year, I think Devontae Adams is still going to be up there in terms of targets, probably top 5 easy this season, definitely top 5 in receptions. So I think there's no reason, especially in half PPR, to get him in your lineup, even though he is $8,000, which is the third most expensive receiver this week in the main slate. And similar to my other lineup, I have the Indianapolis Colts as my defense. I just like him for the value a lot. So those are my DFS plays for this week.
I'm locking it in.
Yep, just locked it in myself.
Now, like when this doesn't go well, I'm going to feel bad.
Yep. Well, all my money's on you, Zach.
All $4.
I just bet my life there.
That's tough. Yeah, I'm actually entering $100 head-to-head with that lineup. So.
Oh.
Yeah, that lineup's pretty solid. I only saw the one. There's only $100 left, and really you can only upgrade. Like I think Terry McLaurin was $100 more than Ty, but even then, it's if you got faith in Ty and Phillip Rivers is a dog. So I'm expecting him to come out and want to throw the ball. You're right. I'm in.
I love Terry McLaurin this week against washed second highest paid corner in the league, Darius Slay.
Without Rasul Douglas, that Eagles secondary should be, really beat up.
I don't hate taking Terry McLaurin instead of T.Y. Hilton. I don't think it's a bad choice at all. I think if I did rankings for week 1, I'd probably have Terry McLaurin higher, so maybe I should go change that lineup. But when I made it, T.Y. was the guy. What'd you say?
I've already entered it.
Well, you can change it.
Oh.
Okay. So those were those were my DFS picks for the week. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to get in? Or
I have a quick 5-person DFS lineup I did for
Thursday
on FanDuel.
Oh,
Yeah, the Thursday.
5-person ones.
Nice. Who's your MVP, dude?
Mahomes.
Nice. I mean, yeah, that's been big.
I think you should have gone with Darrell Williams, but that's
I got Mahomes as my MVP.
Darrell.
And my 4 flex are Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Will Fuller, and Randall Cobb. I think it's going to be a lot of passing going on in that game.
I like it.
Wow.
Because Brandon Cooks is questionable. He didn't practice today.
I wonder where you got that information from.
Yeah, I was still just going to say, where'd you hear that news?
Just throwing that out there. I
want to say,
you guys knew that.
If we're staying bold here, I did prepare to say my MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, so I'm going to stay bold, and I just want to let everyone know that Pat Mahomes is my MVP and Aaron Donald is my Defensive Player of the Year.
Bold. Austin coming in with the hot takes.
Get that stuff out of here, Austin. That is too hot for podcasts.
Yeah,
cut his mic. You can't be saying things like that. Beautiful.
Yep, Austin's muted. I'm kidding. I didn't. I think that's gonna do it. It was long. I'm not cutting any of it. So
yeah, these people gotta listen.
I think Connor said something that can't be said earlier.
He did call me a vulgar name.
It was Josh, but
Connor called me a.
Connor said the W word.
What did Josh say earlier in the podcast?
He called me a dumb whore. What are you talking about? I'll say
said the F word earlier in the podcast on accident.
Mother effer. Okay, because I got a trivia question wrong.
That's almost worse.
Justifiable.
That's a sexual leading statement.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I learned from media law, it's that you're not wrong, Austin.
Yeah.
Are
we gonna do trivia on After Hours too, or After Dark?
We can. We can make it spicy.
Yeah, I was gonna say just that way we can get like funnier with the trivia and funnier with the responses.
We'll make it spicy on Hot Stove After Dark. So I think that's going to do it for our first episode of year 3. If you made it this far in the podcast, I appreciate you. We love you.
Probably question your time management.
For listening to the 5 of us talk for 2 hours about football.
So how you get people to listen the entire time is throwing the title Austin's Wild MVP and Depoy picks.
Yeah.
And then they have to listen all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get those incredibly bold predictions.
Yeah. So we'll be back at it soon. I think our plan is to have new episodes out on Wednesdays or Thursday, depending on how our schedules end up working out. I want to have them out before the week, obviously, so we can do our week review. Other than that, we should be having our first episode of Hot Stove After Dark coming fairly soon. So definitely check out. Make sure to subscribe on all sorts of different platforms, whether or not it be the YouTube channel, the Apple Podcast channel, or the Spotify channel. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWMYO. That's it. That is our first episode. So again, thank you. We appreciate you for listening, and we will see you next time.